Hi friends, this is Anders Ibsen from Windermere Professional Partners, managing broker of Anders Ibsen Homes. Now, as of now, in the middle of the first quarter 2025, housing in the city of Tacoma is fundamentally changed. But how and why? Well, what recently passed and went into effect is what's called Home in Tacoma, which is a new missing middle policy is what it's called, which effectively means that anywhere you go in any residential neighborhood, the city can no longer restrict housing to just single family. So what this means is that even in the least dense residential zone, a homeowner could in theory have up to a fourplex by right. But how did we get here and what does this really mean? So it's no secret that we have a profound housing shortage everywhere in the United States, but especially in West Coast, high cost of living places like Western Washington. And in response to this, the city of Tacoma and also the state of Washington designed new housing rules that allow for more housing choices, meaning that in residential zones, which used to have a variety of different kind of classifications, in Tacoma there are now just three. They're called urban residential zoning, and the zones are just urban residential 1, 2, and 3. And they allow for different things, but even in the least dense of these zonings, you as a homeowner can have up to a fourplex by right. And even in the least dense zone, you could have up to a sixplex by special permission from the city if at least 2 of those units are affordable, as calculated by city staff. Now, that's the main change that's different from these rules, and it's a very dense policy, so I won't belabor it too much. But there are a couple of other interesting provisions that could be especially relevant. For starters, something that a lot of people might find interesting is the minimum lot size is now significantly smaller. It's effectively been cut in half. Now the minimum lot size in all these new residential zones is only 2,500 square feet. So in theory, if you had a typical city of Tacoma lot of say 6,000 square feet, in theory, it's now a lot easier to perhaps short plat your lot and maybe have someone build a townhouse or build another unit or an ADU, for example. So we're going to see significantly more housing choices just because there's a lot more buildable land that's been opened up. Finally, one of the lesser discussed topics, but something I think is really interesting and could have some profound implications, is a little known process called unit lot subdivision, which basically means shared ownership. So for example, let's say that you have a home and you either finish your garage next to the alley, for example, or you just build a new structure for making an ADU, for example, or a duplex unit. In theory, you could have that effectively short platted and turned into a separately sellable unit. So as the owner, you could have a little upside, so you could have a little windfall that you could use to make further improvements to your home, pay down debt, or other strategic uses of your money. But the real win, I think, for something like this could be access to entry-level home ownership. Because right now, with the standard entry-level starter home in Tacoma being around $400,000 and the median Tacoma home price being $500,000, it's really tough with today's interest rates for first-time home buyers to get started and to actually offer on something they can afford. So these things will be small, of course, but if separately ownable ADU units, duplex units, whatever you want to call them, could be accessible to the market, that potentially could be a game changer for first-time home buyers, along with more options for things like townhouses, for instance. Now, that's just a drop in the bucket. This is a very dense, complicated policy, but those are a few of the biggest topics that really jumped out at me as the most relevant for current homeowners, as well as people who would like to be homeowners in the city of Tacoma. Feel free to visit the City of Tacoma's Planning and Development Services website for more information about home in Tacoma. If you ever have questions about how this might affect you as a potential home buyer, seller, or just a homeowner who wants to be more informed, reach out anytime. I'd love to hear from you. Once again, this is Anders Ibsen from Windermere Professional Partners. Keep the questions coming, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.